I will have my moments, but I will not let this moment be the summation of who I am. One day I just realized this is the only body I got, so this is, it's the only life I'm going to live. I'm not going to waste time just disliking myself or disliking who I am because of those things that, one, aren't going to change overnight, and two, are what they are. I said I cannot spend my life in this place. I have to do the work. And I'm not discounting at all taking steps like going to counseling or even taking medication and things that may be necessary to help move forward. But I also believe that it starts with making a choice.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to another segment of Business Acumen with Cross Cultural Talks. I am your host, Robinette Cross, and today I have with me a dear sister, a prayer warrior, an artist, a wordsmith, a poet, a kind spirit, Miss Paula Gillison. Welcome to the show, Paula.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Paula Bailey, she gets excited sometimes, so I'm glad that she's excited today.
That's true.
That's true, that's true. So Paula, I wanted to let you know a little bit of why I asked you on the show. I tell everybody this. I think that you have quite a knack for words. I really see the work that you do just artistically with Tuesday Verses, the way that you are building a legacy for yourself through words, but also the way that you pay homage to people and try to keep their legacy going. And so the way that you're able to have that impact, not just in the Richmond community, but you're branching out to the Metro Richmond area, the larger Tri-Cities, Tri-State area, and I just want to celebrate that for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And she's getting shout outs all over the place. Somebody from Italy just gave her a like and a look.
That's always really nice. Every once in a while I wake up and it's some random hour, 2 o'clock in the morning, I roll over, look at my phone and see someone from somewhere has responded to my blog or looked at it or liked it or even shared it. So that's always exciting.
Yeah, and they usually are social issues about what you write in your blog. I know one of them I read that you sent me. So by the way, thanks for sending them to me.
Thank you for reading.
Well, I tried. I tried. One of them I read was really interesting about this process of a fade to white, about this woman who wasn't comfortable in her own skin, and so every step she took towards moving away from her own skin, she actually was leaving prints of herself in places until she was completely whitewashed. I really loved that. So spoiler alert in case you did not read it, just still read it. There's more, the plot thickens.
Yes.
The plot thickens. So Paula, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from. I know you have at least one sibling.
It's 5 siblings.
Well then now.
Yes.
Very good.
A large group of us. So born and raised in Richmond, Virginia. My family from my father's side is from Haiti and my mother's side is just Goochland County, Richmond, so that's a cool fact a lot of people don't know about me.
Yeah.
Not a deep connection to the culture, but it's actually something I'm personally exploring. I am the only girl with 5 brothers, so that is very exciting, though I don't like sports, and it's because there are 5 brothers. I have always been passionate about writing, and for me, seeing my mother and my cousins and grandmas and great-grandmothers, everybody was a writer and being able to read their works. But more specifically, my great-grandmother, who was a published author, but wasn't able to publish under her own name because she was a black woman in that time frame. So she actually published under the white woman that she worked for name, and received a lot of praise for these writings, but really couldn't put herself out there. And so that was always something that for me was a driving force. Not only did I want to be able to write freely, but really write under the last name of Gillison for the sake of my family, just to kind of have my writings in a place where people could see my family's name, and really just know that I came from this history of strong women who were writers and creative and passionate and talented.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Girl power.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, that is a little known fact. Had no idea that you were of Haitian descent as well.
Yeah, it's I actually have been purposely trying to go to like history shows and museums and things like that, and trying to find some food enrichment. So if anybody knows any Haitian food enrichment, let me know, because I don't have a lot of connection to my father's side of the family, so I don't get to really explore those roots the way I'd like to. But for me, exploring who I am, I feel like it's only been probably the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so that I really started to realize that I was not just a woman, but a Black woman in America, and kind of discovering who I am and exploring those roots and where that leads, and really just helps me to connect with myself, and also helps me to know what type of legacy I want to leave.
Yeah, that's good. Another thing that I always am really proud to see is that you are unashamed about who you are. You don't have to worry about, you don't have body conscious issues, you don't have to be anyone else but you. And I love the fact that you constantly tell people via social media how proud you are to be in the skin you're in, the complexion that you are, every hue of you, your personality type, the quirks about you, which make you an amalgamation of this unique, beautiful individual. And so I celebrate that, because too often we are so busy trying to conform to what we think other people think we should be. And you have always been the type of person, since I've known you, to say, I'm not quite concerned about who you want me to be. I'll be who I am. And so who gave you that strength?
I was at one point very concerned. You know, even when I think about who I am right now sitting here, I would never have worn a short sleeve shirt, never had color in my hair, just was really uncomfortable with myself. And I wish I could pinpoint it, but I don't know where the tide turned for me. Just one day I just realized this is the only body I got. You know, so this is, you know, it's the only life I'm going to live. I'm not going to waste time just disliking myself or disliking who I am because of those things that, one, aren't going to change overnight, and two, are what they are. And then one of the small things I used to always say is I ain't never had anybody walk up to me and say, girl, I don't like it. So I was able to just be confident in myself by really just doing affirmations, reminding myself that I was beautiful. And then I realized I look just like my mama, and my mama was gorgeous. So I just had to learn to like myself. And so it's like, if nobody else tells me I'm gorgeous on any given day, I'm going to tell myself that I am gorgeous. And for me, it's just really important that I let people see that it is okay to be yourself. My employees tell me all the time, you're so weird, and I'm like, thank you. I was like, you will never meet another Paula, and there are definitely days where I feel insecure about myself, but I'm making a conscious and purposeful effort to just love myself. As simple as it is, just really decide to like myself.
Yeah, it sounds simple.
Right, it sounds simple.
It sounds very simple, but that's a difficult journey to just be content with being, not content, but being comfortable with who you are. You should never feel a sense of contentment, because that means that you're complacent.
Right.
But you should be comfortable with who you are. That's really good.
And for me, it's kind of like the character in my story, where she just really, even though she had people around her affirming who she was, she just wasn't taking that good look into herself to decide that I love myself the way I am. She really let outside influences determine who she should be. Yeah. And we live in a world like that. People are constantly, all the time, telling you that this is how you should act or this is how you should be. But the reality is that there's this very natural part of your personality that in the quiet moments comes out whether you want it to or not. And I just decided to stop singing only in the shower. So I will be somewhere loud and proud singing embarrassingly. Promise, if you look at my Facebook page, you will see it. Out in public singing and just being okay with myself. I want every day to be lived in a way that I'm proud at what happened at the end of that day.
I'm proud of you for saying that, Paula, because that was a journey for you. And I don't know every night you cried. I don't know every tear you shed. I don't know all the elements of your walk. And I also don't know if you want to share any of those moments. And it's okay if you don't. And it's okay if you do. But I know that took a fight for you to get here.
It was. I have almost categorized my life as BE and after E. My son Emmanuel before, Emmanuel after. And for me, there was something that happened during that journey that I never expected. I would always tell people, if you asked me 9 months before his life and 9 months after his life, I would have never looked thought that I would be in the position I was, in a position to want to help women, or to want to, you know, connect with other mothers or children or things like that. And it was, for me, I think looking at people really dealing with depression and suffering and loss and letting it take hold of their lives, that I decided that I will have my moments, but I will not let this moment be the summation of who I am. I always tell people, I said, there's a difference between being depressed and having depression. I can feel in this moment the sadness and the grief and all of the things associated with his death, but I do not have to let that be my everyday existence. And it was really a fight. I took a year off of work. I really sat down and took the time to write and do the art and do all the things that I felt like would help me. And some of the stuff helped and some of the stuff really didn't. But through that process, I was able to really internalize and connect with what I was feeling.
Just really, as I saw you at intervals on both ends of the journey. And so to see you in a place where you now can just be calm, you can be confident, you're successful, you know, you're doing your thing. That's something to be like, you know, Paula. I remember the moment when you were brave enough to say how you were at a point where you wanted to be with Emmanuel so much that you were going to choose death over life.
Death over life, yeah. Yeah.
And so to see you not just choose life, but to thrive in life is something that it's admirable.
You know, someone said something to me, it was actually Regina Black, said something to me that really changed the course of my thinking. And that was that this is the reality of my situation. This is what it is. It cannot change no matter how much I wish or want it to change. And it was a tough love lesson. So I had to address it and make a choice. And whatever that choice was, stick to it. And then, I love how honest my friends are, because one of my good friends, shout out to Nikki McMullen, said to me, you keep living as if you're trying to create a world for him, but he's not here anymore. The only thing you can do now is live for yourself. And if you live your best life for yourself, then that honors him. And that was really tough for me, because I kept doing things that I felt like I would be doing if there was a child still here. Trying to, you know, have a certain house and a job and all these type of things. And, you know, they were telling me, it's okay to take this time. It's okay to stop. It's okay to breathe and move into the place that makes you happy. And so everything I do, whether I say it out loud or just internalize it, I know that I'm doing it in honor of who he is and his life. And, you know, I always tell people, I'm like, there's always me plus one. There's never just a me at this point.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. And even with your art, you always, whether that's his birthday, especially around his birthday, or then you, around special days to honor him, you always have these really big bursts of artistic expression, and then you give those things away, or you have these sales, or you do something that is in honor of Emmanuel. And so I must say, I appreciate that you, because it's cathartic, right? Art for you is cathartic. It's healing. It's a healing process. And so that's the way that you are able to stay engaged and not caged. And so I just like, please keep doing it.
Yeah, and it's interesting for me because in the process, and like I said, I never would imagine my connection to women would have changed. But in this process of just simply writing and sharing, because one of the things I know about myself is I can't seem to write and keep it in a box. I almost have to share with people. People would come up to me and say, I never thought that it was okay to honor this child that didn't live or didn't make it to birth, or, you know, any of those things. And because I was sharing it, people kept coming to me and saying, you know, this is how I've been feeling. I just didn't think it was okay to say anything. I didn't think it was okay to acknowledge the fact that this happened. And it hurts me that so many women are refusing to acknowledge either their birth or their stillbirths or their miscarriages, because it makes other people uncomfortable. And I am quick to correct people if they, you know, say something wrong. There were people even close to me who just didn't quite know the details of my story. And I'm like, if you want to know, I will sit down and tell you, because it's important for me, whether you have a direct connection to what I've been through or you're dealing with grief in one way or another, for you to hear this story and possibly help you to move forward. I made writing and art an active part of my healing. And when the writing didn't work, I prayed and I said, what can I do now? And in that moment, God gave me prayer, praise, and painting. And so I would literally sit down, turn on the praise music, pray a little, and paint. And that process really just helped release it in the best way possible.
Yeah.
So some of my paintings literally have tears in them because I was pouring it out while I was painting.
That's good. Pour it out while you're pouring it out while you're painting.
Pour it while you paint.
Pour it while you paint. Literally, she's mixing the paint with her tears. Yeah. So what made you? Because you always, I believe, painted, or you had painting in your history for a while. Yeah. But then something over the last year really was an uptick for you, where you felt confident enough to just say, all right, I'm going to sell it. Now you do First Fridays. Yeah. You do all kinds of great things. She was one of the prophetic art painters at our church. And so her paintings are really beautiful. They're expressive.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Some of them are figurative. Some of them have literal pieces. And so what made you want to just go ahead and just say, all right, here it is, and give this piece of art to the world?
You know, it was so difficult for me. It was so easy for me to share my poetry and my stories, but the painting just felt so personal. To the point now, if someone tries to buy a piece and they want to lower the cost, I'm like, you're going to have to pay me to take this off my hands. Because it was such a unique experience to me. I just felt like sharing because I would share with friends here and there. Like if you ever been to my house, it literally looks like an art gallery because I have my paintings everywhere on the walls. And people just started asking me, can you please share this? Can you please show people this? I feel like people would like this. And that wasn't something I believed. I really didn't believe people would like or want to see my art. But it was important for me to let people see it and share it. So it truly was people just saying, will you share? And I was like, we'll see what happens. And I enjoy it now. I like people being able to see it. And I enjoy going to an art museum and kind of trying to decipher what it's meant, and then finding out it meant absolutely nothing of what I thought it meant. So if someone wants to do that to my work, that's fine with me too. For me, so many of my friends are prolific painters and such amazing artists and are doing so much greater than me. I feel like sometimes I'm in a top class, but I'm still like the lowest in that top class is how I feel. But I feel blessed because I get to sit under people who I'm watching. My friends, painters, are in the house of famous people and they're really selling their work. And I get to study that and say, one day I'm going to be like you. That's truly, the plan. So I feel blessed anytime someone's even willing to look at, let alone pay for the work.
That's good. And you've been talking about painting, but one of the things for which your name is a staple in this city is poetry. And I haven't been. I've seen it on Facebook, but Paula does these. You can do poetry jam with slams.
Slams, yeah.
And my husband behind the camera says she's got bars. Everybody knows what bars are. Yes. And so I want you to please tell the people what do you do in poetry. Tell us about Tuesday Verses. Tell us the whole story, because there's a whole story of how you're now really leading that whole movement now. So.
It's beyond me, because some of the people I get to see and sit under, like Roscoe Burnhams and Michelle Dodd, are people who are on national stages, and they're my friends, and I have their numbers in my phone, so I can call them and write with them, which is mind-blowing to me, because 10 years ago, I literally was just this little poet who would do at high school events or, go to someone's random open mic, and nobody really cared that I was there. But I remember the first time I went to Tuesday Verses, which was created and founded by Lorna Pickney. God rest her soul. I thank her for changing my life. I went there and I watched these people. That first night was just amazing. And for me, no lie, I said, I'm going to be friends with these people. It was just a choice. And so I started Facebook stalking people and sending them messages, and I was like, literally like, be my friend. And so, and it's funny because I have this close, beautiful relationship with these people now who have really taken me under their wing to kind of help me write. Because I was one of those people, I was like, the first draft is perfect. I don't need to edit, this is great. And then kind of learning that you're so good, the first draft is good, but then you can edit and do a little bit more. And so I started making an effort to really just be around these people. So this is why I was going to the shows, not to push myself out there, but I just wanted to sit up under these people who I felt were doing what I wanted to do. And so between going from Tuesday Versus to Slam Richmond, and then the Writers' Den, which is Richmond's premier slam poetry team that actually goes and represents nationally, going to these events, I just grew to have these relationships with these people and really have genuine support for them. So I made the effort, if there's a show going on, I want to support you, I want to be there. And that slowly worked into me, not just doing open mics, but starting to compete. And I remember my very first competition, it was me and my guy at the time, and we're there, and I was like, you know, if you win, I'm not going to care, it's not a big deal. And then I won my very first show, and he cared. But it was great because there was this moment where I realized that not only do I have natural God-given talent, but I can actually put the work into making this talent work for me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the thing a lot of times people miss, is that they don't actually put in the effort to grow. Whereas it's painting or the poetry or the writing, I'm actually putting in the effort to go to these events, to sit up under these people, to connect with them, and then work on my craft. Mm-hmm. And I just really feel blessed that to this day they contact me when they want me to do shows or workshops or things like that. It still blows my mind that people are willing to come to a workshop that I'm hosting and learn from me. I don't understand why, but yeah, I feel blessed to have something to give.
Yeah, you have it. And if David says, he's a wordsmith in his own right, but he's just too shy to be in front of the camera.
I believe it.
Yes, yes, he is. And so he never will say, I mean, we all have talents, but he will not say that someone's talented in a particular area if they're not.
Oh, right.
He just doesn't give undue praise.
Okay.
So for him to say, it's just the truth. For him to say that you have as much talent as you have, really, that's just him giving you a round of applause from behind the camera. And I know that there are so many people who celebrate that. But another thing that I'm really glad that you do, and I touched on this at the beginning of our conversation, is that you understand that there is benefit in sitting under people who know the ins and outs of a thing. And just because you have a God-given talent doesn't mean that you don't cultivate. Right. There's benefit in cultivation, and then there's also benefit in sitting and serving and supporting and networking and being mentored and mentoring. Yeah. The whole fact that you've benefited from these things, and then you still reach back and you're not afraid to give. One thing that I do also want to tell you all about Paula that she may or may not tell you about herself is that no matter what, if there's something that someone needs to give, if there's a drive, if there's a food drive, if there's a goods drive, if there's anything, she is there, even if she can't be there on the day. I have met Paula in the parking lot at night with nobody else there. You and Violet. And even if she couldn't be there physically on the day to serve, she deposited the thing that was needed. And it's because it's the greater good that she's serving. So when she says that she's doing this, she's not just doing it for herself, and she's not just hosting this gift just for herself. She really is giving back in the way that it was poured into her. And I appreciate that.
Thank you. It's so important to me that people don't waste, and I say waste, but even spend time in a place that they don't have to be. Yeah. I remember one of the first few classes I went to, or not classes, but counseling sessions I went to, and hearing about the people who said, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, I still can't do this, I can't be around children, I still feel so depressed. And I said to myself, I will not spend 5 years in depression. That's just not an option, because I thought as a teenager I knew what depression was. I thought I had experienced something, but then when I went through this and I realized the crippling effects of not being able to get out of the bed or feeling like you couldn't breathe. Or for me, one of the biggest things I realized is I stumbled like crazy. I have a lisp now and I talk too fast, but there was a time where I really could not form sentences, and it just really took over my life. And I said, I cannot spend my life in this place. I have to do the work. And I'm not discounting at all taking steps like going to counseling or even taking medication, the things that may be necessary to help move forward. But I also believe that it starts with making a choice. And for me, I made the choice. I started to go to counseling and I said, I'm going to write this stuff out. And so I did everything from writing letters to my son, or writing letters to the people who I felt like were in this situation for me. I remember even writing a letter to the doctor, and I gave it to him, and I said, this is how I feel. And you know, he was appreciative of it. And I want people to be able to use techniques like writing and art and expression to help them move to that place of healing. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, and that's one of the reasons I'm going back to school to kind of get into art therapy, specifically when it comes to creative writing and teaching creative writing classes. But I truly believe that people have to start by making a choice that they want healing, and then they can slowly begin to work their way towards it, whatever they may be. And there are people who come to my class and, you know, say, oh, that was a good start. And then there are people who come to my classes that I never knew that I can write. And I always say, you don't have to be a writer to come to my writing classes, but you do have to be willing to start somewhere. If this doesn't work out for you, then let's find the next thing, because art changes lives. The reality is, no matter what, I tell my friends who are in art, you know, I'm like, if you're a singer, start painting. If you're a painter, start singing. Do something artistic, even if it's outside of your realm, in order to help you just free yourself a little.
That's good. That's good. What made you, first of all, for how long have you been blogging, and what made you start it?
I started blogging, I think it was about 2013 or so, but I wasn't doing it consistently. So I would write something and just get terrified to put it online. I think it was, I know it was while I was in the hospital, because the last 2 months of my pregnancy, however long that was, I was in the hospital and was nothing to do because they put me on bed rest. And so at that point, I remember one of the situations I was dealing with is the rejection I was feeling from my father. And so I just kind of wrote it out and decided that I'm going to share it. I'm here, there's nothing to do, there's somebody here. So I just put that out there and people were receptive to it. At that point, I realized that as much as I loved poetry, I really just love formulating a story. I really love trying to put together concise ideas and giving people those how-tos and advice and things like that. And so I slowly started putting myself on a schedule. I'm going to write once a week and share every 2 weeks. I'm going to write twice a week and share every week. And so I really just started consciously putting the blog out there. And then just like I do in everything else, I started studying, okay, how to get people to read this? How do I share? How do I get other bloggers interested? And so really just putting myself on a plan. It's funny because as spontaneous and wild as I am, when it comes to things, work that I'm doing, I have plan, and to-do lists for everything. And so when I started blogging on a full-time basis, I changed the name of the blog to For Lack of Better Words. So it's lackofbetter.wordpress.com. And really, I just write about whatever. Like sometimes I'm nervous because my friends have, you know, travel-based blogs or foodie blogs. But for me, it's whatever I feel like at that moment, I'm putting it out there. So you'll easily find a story or a poem. And then I think most recently I wrote about how to do a job interview and how to go on a date and just a little bit of everything. And you know, I truly hope, for me, I always say the end goal is the day Oprah decides she wants to sit down and talk to me. It will be the day that I feel like I've made it. But really for me, it's just a matter of, you know, having this space to kind of express a little everything. And then there are times where I talk about the tough things, like, you know, the crime going on in our community, and gentrification is something I just recently addressed. Really just want to talk about what I feel like everybody's talking about, no matter what that might be.
Yeah, that's good. So what is one thing that you have done, of which, up till now, of which you are most proud?
One thing that I'm most proud that I've done till now, gosh, that's so interesting, because anytime people tell me they're proud of me, I'm just like, I've barely done anything. I think for me, it would just be the healing journey, honestly, because I truly do remember the days where I felt like I was completely done, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And being bold enough to reach out and ask for help. You know, I've even been cryptic enough to put a Facebook message up and hoping someone can decipher what I'm saying, because I didn't want to say what I was saying. And so just being alive truly feels like the best thing that I could have done. Because giving up was an option, and I feel like it could have been an easy thing to do. And so it's a daily choice to still be here, to still do the work, to still honor my son, to honor my family, and choosing to continue the legacy. And then on another note, I've been able to perform for some really cool people. So I remember the time I opened up for Plunky from Plunky and Oneness, and he was just like, "You did that, girl." And I was like, "Thank you." And just recently I was able to perform for Daphne and Tim Reed at the opening of their new art gallery. So I was like,
awesome.
dude, it's like living, I mean, it's a Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
This is great. So so those are some of the cool things I've also done. I appreciate being able to do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so thinking about the trajectory of your life, what is the legacy that you want to leave that is the unique imprint of Paula Gillison?
I want people to have read something that I wrote and say that it changed their life. I remember being in middle school and reading a story that made me decide I wanted to be a writer, or having a teacher that made me say I want to teach, or seeing a piece of artwork that made me decide I want to paint. I remember those moments of seeing something that someone else did or created or was and said I wanted to mimic that. And so I really want to be in a position that people who, whether they feel hopeless or just lost or just stuck, can see something, read something, or feel something that I've created, and it helps them to move forward. You know, even if it's, you know, just as simple as a quote that I put online that got shared. If it helps people move to a different position in life, in a new season or a new phase, then I feel like I'm doing my job.
That's good.
And if it makes me a lot of money, that's pretty cool too.
Come through.
Hey.
Yes, ma'am. Indeed.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. So what is coming down the pike for you? What's next? You're going back to school?
Yeah, school is definitely on the works. Found a program that I think will work for me, because I know me. I'm just not a huge fan of school, but I recognize that it needed the education. Also, the next book is coming, so I'm undecided about the title, but I'm really excited for a book of short stories. So if you go on my blog right now, you will see miniature versions of the stories that I'm writing, but the full-length versions will be in the book, so I'm really excited about that. There are some workshops that I'm doing, just a little bit of everything, putting the books out there. There's a poetry book that was just recently released called Under, which is just a few short poems that I realized that for me really made an impact on the last season of my life. So yeah, my friends always say you do a little bit of everything, and I truly do. So books, poetry, jewelry, all that stuff can be found on the webpage though.
That's good. Is this your work in your ear?
No, this I believe this is a friend of mine. I'm somewhere. Somebody bought this. It's funny because I make jewelry, but I love to wear other people's stuff, so I'm always buying somebody else's jewelry and selling my own. I love my stuff too, but I support my friends, so I make it, I buy it.
That's good. You make it, she'll buy it. Oh, you know, that would have been great. I have my necklace that you gave.
Oh, okay.
Remember you were at church and you were giving out jewelry?
Oh, yeah.
And I happily received myself a necklace.
It was so strange because someone said it. It was like, where is the rest of your stuff? And you should have been at church today.
Yeah.
I just woke up that morning and God was like, give the rest away. So I took the entire inventory and just gave it away.
Praise the Lord for Paula's heart.
I was trying not to count the money that would have made. I was like, I'm just going to give it.
Listen, because the price tag was still on my necklace. And I said, oh, thank you, Paula. I said, oh.
I think I did it just this week. I did a piece of art and somebody walked up and said, they was like, I like this. I was like, there you go. And like 2 seconds later, I was like, what? It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So
come back.
Yes. It's a proven method.
Right.
It's a proven method. So if people want to get in contact with you and or patron you, how would they be able to do it?
The best way to do it is to look up the blog on Facebook. It's For Lack of Better Words. Or you can go to the website, lackofbetter.wordpress.com. So either one of those methods will get directly to me. My contact information will be there. So you'll see everything from the store there to the blogs to wherever let me next.
Okay. And if they want to follow you, let's say, can they follow you on Facebook and Instagram?
And all that stuff. Yeah, so it's PGArtistry, ARTISTRY. PGArtistry is where you'll find me for everything.
Very good. Very good, guys. So please make sure that you patron my sister Paula, that you have to hear her. First of all, buy Under.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. Really do. Buy Under. Make sure that you see her. She's at Tuesday Versus. She helps with the poetry slam.
Writer's Den.
Writer's Den. She either helps with or competes in.
Yep.
Either or, sometimes both.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. She is instructing. She's at First Fridays usually. Right?
Yeah. One of the places is usually going to be somewhere near either like a Lecco Folklore Society or Art 180.
Okay, very good. So when you follow her, then she's very good at keeping you apprised of where she's going to be so that you can patron her work, and then just message her if it's something that you really want. She does have a really pretty gallery of pieces that she puts online as well. So make sure that you just, you know, contact her, that you patron her, and that you support her. Read the blogs. Give her. She actually does love feedback. I'm talking about you like
Yes.
She loves feedback. Like really quality feedback. Don't just be like, that was good. Just like give her real feedback.
I'll take that too though. But yeah.
Like if you're not a technician with it, then just say that's good. But if you have something that is just I encourage you to tell her what was good about it. Even if you say it's good, what touched you. Because what she just said is that you want to have something that touches people's lives.
Right.
So tell her what it was in the piece. Tell her what it was in the painting that touched your life, so that she'll know, okay, that was God saying to do this or that. Okay? So make sure that you reach out. Paula, I thank you so much for joining us. I'm super excited about all that God has in store for you. Guys, tune in to Business Acumen with Cross Cultural Talks. I'm your host, Robinette Cross. Don't forget to go and be great on purpose. God bless you.
Bye.